If you don't know what programmatic SEO is, you're going to know by the end of this episode. And if you already know what it is and you just want some inspiration, if you'd like some inspiration on programmatic search engine optimization, because you know what it is, you're going to get that on today's episode. I got a treasure trove of SEO info. This is a huge, mega long article from detailed.com. I love detailed.com. Detailed.com comes out with the craziest SEO research reports. They have this famous research report about how it's 16 companies that get so much traffic from Google, 16 publishers that get so much traffic from Google. This one has gone super viral before, and it's ultra long. This company, detail.com, really is good. It's by this guy, Glen Allsopp, and he's just done a great job with this website. I'm actually personally inspired by this website because he puts sound effects in. He puts these graphics in. He puts animations in. It's beautiful. It's clear that he actually cares about the UI, UX. He doesn't take black hat shortcuts with this site. He just makes it nice. And it stood the test of time. It's beautiful. I'm so impressed with this site. I really like what Glenn has done with it. And so I'm going to be sharing an excerpt from this article that I recently discovered. It's called Detailed Q4, Analyzing the SEO Playbook of Digital Goliaths. In depth every quarter. I just found this article and I said, holy moly, this has so much for me to talk about on the podcast. I'm very excited. So I'm going to read an excerpt from this about programmatic SEO. I read this myself before recording the podcast, so I know it's worthwhile. And like I said, if you don't know what programmatic search engine optimization is, you will know by the end of this episode. And if you already know, you'll have some inspiration. So that's what I'm giving you on today's show. This is episode 381 of my daily digital marketing podcast. I do this thing 7 days a week. Yesterday, I recorded in the courtyard of a luxury hotel here in the European city I'm in, and now I'm in my home. This section is called Daydream Raises an Additional $3.8 million to help companies automate their programmatic SEO. In Detailed Q3, Detailed again is the name of the site, detailed.com. This URL for this article, if you want to check it out yourself, it's detailed.com/Q4. And I will also link to it in the description of this episode. In Detailed Q3, I introduced Daydream, a startup that had just raised $2.5 million pre-seed to build the next generation of tools for acquiring users at scale from search. Just a few months later, they've now raised a $3.8 million seed round and updated their homepage to show they're now working with a few companies like Notion and Product Hunt. I've actually seen Product Hunt's programmatic SEO efforts. It's interesting that it's from this company, Daydream. Daydream's headline is Automate Programmatic SEO from End to End. There are differing variations of what people say programmatic SEO actually is, so I thought it would be better to focus on Daydream's definition. One example on their site is from Payscale, who has created over 100,000 pages on the type of salaries someone could expect to generate for specific jobs in different countries. Here's an example. And then there's a screenshot from Payscale, and the H1, the heading of the page, is Average Compliance Analyst Salary in Spain. Why is it that? It's because these are different variables plugged into the heading of the page in a way that someone might actually search into Google. You might have someone in Google search average compliance analyst salary in Spain. That is a keyword. And what programmatic SEO does is it uses information that the company has to spin up thousands of pages to match all different combinations of variables so that each result is a keyword. Spain is a variable. Average is a variable. Could be high, could be low. Compliance analyst is a variable. It could be a different type of job. And then when you combine all of these variables, you get average compliance analyst salary in Spain. And then there's all this information that goes along with it on the page. The pay amount, the job details, the job listings, base salary, bonus, total pay, tons more information. And that's all programmatically filled out. It's not someone who's manually entering these things on each page. So the article continues. Glen Allsopp continues. I just had one slight concern with this case study in that the research folder on Payscale, where the above example resides, has lost almost 63% of its traffic in the last 2 years, according to Ahrefs, which Daydream also uses for their case studies. In other words, even when authoritative sites create pages programmatically, there's no guarantees they'll maintain their results. Of course, you could argue that even if traffic spikes then falls, it was worth it to get the temporary boost in reach. But a better example is another report from Daydream on Wise.com. So Wise.com is a customer of Daydream, and Wise hosts over 200,000 currency conversion pages. And you may have seen this yourself if you were trying to convert a currency. So the next example, and I looked into this myself, and I'm going to share details about it, is convert USD to PKR at the real exchange rate. That is the heading from Wise. Wise is a huge company. I use Wise. Lots of my friends use Wise, and they are doing programmatic SEO. You see this from Zapier too. If you've ever tried to search for an automation, you've probably come across one of Zapier's programmatic SEO landing pages for that automation. And these pages rank so well. Zapier gets so much traffic from this. If you want to search Twitter to TikTok automation or TikTok to Instagram automation, there's a good chance you will come across one of Zapier's pages that was just programmatically spun up. But let's talk about Wise. In the past 6 months alone, Wise's programmatic SEO landing pages have seen an estimated increase of 19 million monthly visits from Google. As a side note, I know I'm getting too nerdy here, but I wonder how accurate tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush are on click-through rates when Google solves an answer directly in their search results. It's possible the clickstream data and models they use account for this, but my understanding is that they don't. For example, here are the search results for the key phrase which supposedly drives the most traffic to Wise: USD to PKR, Pakistani rupee. Google has that well covered. So if you Google USD to PKR, Google literally gives you the conversion right there. You don't actually have to click into Wise. But lots of people still do because we examined that on a previous episode of the show. Just a few episodes ago, we looked at a study which is in SEOsherpa.com about how even when a website gets the rich answer, the feature snippet on Google, people still click through to learn more, and you still get a considerable bump. So cool that we just looked at this study. Anyway, ending this section of this article, the only way to use Daydream services right now, a lot of people would probably be interested in this, is to join a wait list. So I have no idea of their pricing or specific offering. That's from the author of this article. I assume the business model is to charge a lot to fewer companies rather than trying to hit the customer levels of the likes of SEMrush. They have some investors on board that I'm a fan of, such as Eli Schwartz, the author of Product-Led SEO. So I'll keep following their journey and let you know if they open things up further. So that's a Daydream that's doing this. Now we're going to look at Wise's page for USD to PKR, because I took a look at this before recording this, and I think it's a good example of programmatic SEO and all of the different variables that will go onto a page to satisfy search intent programmatically for a keyword. So again, this is tons of different variables that create this page. The heading on the page is US dollars to Pakistani rupees today, and it gives you the exchange rate right there. Then there's a promo image from Wise, save when you send money abroad. Then there's a USD to PKR conversion chart. So this also helps these pages perform in Google. Google wants to see all this information on the page because Google believes that it will better satisfy search intent. And it does. Searchers love seeing this too. So you see the USD to PKR conversion chart. There's all this information with it. Then you see one USD to PKR stats, and you can track market rates. You see the high, the low, the average, the change. All these things are constantly being updated. Compare prices for sending money abroad. That's another H2. These are all H2s now that I'm reading to you. Top currencies, how to convert US dollars to Pakistani rupees. All these things are programmatically filled in, or some just use pre-written text that appear on all of these pages. But every page is different in multiple ways. Top currency pairings for US dollar. And there's still tons more information on this page. There's so much that you can do when you have a crazy database of variables, and you can string them together in really interesting ways to create these programmatic SEO landing pages. And so I hope if you didn't know what programmatic SEO was coming into this episode, now you know. And if you just wanted a quick example of a company doing it well, I think Wise is doing it pretty well. I still think Zapier is doing it really well. So there's two examples And you can check this out yourself. Again, this study comes from detail.com/Q4. Love detail.com. And if you just want to quickly see an example, you can just Google USD to PKR and see Wise's page, which is done super well. And that's it. That is episode 381 of my daily digital marketing podcast. This one was all about programmatic search engine optimization. Hope you're inspired. Hope you're motivated. Hope you learned something valuable. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.